So my name is Deb Yager, and this is the Expert Entrepreneur Series, Living Their True Purpose. And I am so very excited to have Crista Beck on today. She is this phenomenal dating expert coach. She's a founder of Crista Beck Dating Coach. And she's been featured on TED Talks, and her talk was about how you're not too busy for dating and finding love. I love that because there's so many entrepreneurs out there that put their love on the back burner because they have all these limitations and beliefs and paradigms that we're going to talk about today that get in the way of them really going out there and finding true love. And she's also a #1 best-selling author of a book that I love so very much that I have my own copy. It's called Break the Glass Slipper. And ladies and gentlemen, please go out and get this book. It's incredible. I've pretty much all the way through. I read it over Christmas and I could not put it down. And it just explains so many things of why we are so in our culture around dating. So it is incredible. So tell me a little bit about, how you got into this role of being a businesswoman and an expert in dating, and then what inspired you to write the book and also your TED Talk too, because I think they kind of cohesive.
Yeah, I've been in the industry for over 10 years now. It all started with an advice website on romance and relationships, and that started 10 years ago when I was living in Thailand. And then it grew to where I am today, where I'm coaching successful professionals and entrepreneurs that want to find love again, and in my VIP programs or my group programs. And so over the last 10 years, I've spoken to a lot of single people, a lot on the phone. I'm always talking. And I'm a voracious note taker. Because I need to be able to see what these potential clients are saying and where I can see the patterns. I'm more of a visual learner, and I need visual to be the best difference for them. But I save them. And then in the process of collecting all this data and what people are saying, and I noticed these patterns over and over again, things that people were saying, that what reasons why they thought they were still single. And I started to have this, I'm even tingling just thinking about it. I realized wow, these things are not real. People have these certain beliefs about themselves, about love, about dating, about how love is supposed to happen. And I saw it over and over and over again. And so that's why I wrote the book, because I wanted to highlight these top 10, what I call fairy tales. And that's why I called it Break the Glass Slipper. The subtitle is Free Yourself of Fairy Tale Fantasies and Find True Love in Real Life. And I'm really busting up these myths because they're so prevalent in our culture. People actually think they're true, and they actually base one of the biggest decisions of their life and how to choose a partner based on these fairy tales that are not real, that are just propagated by Disney and Hollywood. And so that's a little bit about why I wrote the book.
It's incredible where you take it with the fairy tale stories. One of the first time when I first met you, immediately I loved your energy and everything that you had to say. But the thing that you stuck out the most was the Disney, the fairy tale stories that I believe get programmed. And I had my own personal experience from that, because I remember, and I'm not saying that these things are wrong to watch when you're a kid. I loved The Little Mermaid. And I worshiped her, and Jasmine too.
Yes.
And to where I wanted to be her. In fact, I had body dysmorphia because my body didn't look, I remember comparing myself to a cartoon character. And I also, when I turned 16, this was completely unconscious. I was dating a guy that my parents didn't want me to date. I was too young, and it was just they didn't feel like it was healthy for me. And so I was becoming rebellious at that age. And so he moved away to Florida. And so what I did is I stole my parents' credit card. So I'm 16 years old, just like Ariel was in the movie. My father and my parents didn't approve. And then I stole their credit cards, which is symbolic for the medical, the potion, to fly out to Florida, didn't tell anybody, and disappeared for 6 months.
Deb, love.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God. And did you also sell your voice? Because that's one thing that Ariel did. She like sells her voice for love. And so many people do that.
I never thought, even before that, I never thought that I could speak my truth. And so that was something that I was overcoming. And that's what my career helped me to do, is be able to speak and communicate and all those things. And I wonder if that was installed. It wasn't necessarily it was with men too, because I never told them what I wanted and what I didn't want. Interesting.
Yeah, isn't it?
So when you told me that, it had the biggest aha. I'm like, this is incredible. This is groundbreaking, because the stuff is getting installed. And I hear it all the time too, with Brandon and I, because we talk to people about relationships, and the things that you were talking about, like being too busy today, not taking action to find it. Oh, love will just find me.
Yeah. Poof.
I'm like, in anything that I ever created in my life, it takes required focus and action. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but we really believe that love is just going to magically happen when we least expect it. I mean, that's what I found so shocking about these years being on phone calls with people, is how often they would actually say, I really thought love would have happened for me right now. Like, these are the words that they kept saying. I really thought it would have happened, like by a miracle. And then we all tell each other this. We actually think it's real. But when I get to the heart of the matter with these single people, and I help them to just reflect the true reality, they're able to see they haven't been taking any action. They haven't been doing anything. They've been just hopefully waiting and feeling depressed and wondering why all their friends are getting married, but not them.
Yeah. Or binging on Netflix, which you talked about. Or going to the gym, or putting their career first.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, I work mostly with very successful entrepreneurs, very successful business women who have achieved 6, 7, 8-figure levels. And a lot of times they just get so busy and have used this great energy they have to like make things happen with their career and their business, and they're badass, right? But somewhere along the line, they stop listening to themselves, that in their heart of hearts, they actually really do want a partner. Maybe they believe that they don't need someone, or they can do it themselves, or whatever, but they really want to just experience feeling like a woman. They want to feel that connection. They want to maybe even build a family. But because of whatever feelings or emotions or whatever they had there, they turned off the opportunity for love to happen, and they just created being busy to fill up their time, so much so that they're not making room in their schedule as dating as a priority, love as a priority. I know for me, whenever I want to make something happen in life, it has to go on my calendar, or it's not going to happen. I'll forget, or I won't. Like every day, even on my calendar, I remind myself, Crista, you are the presence of love. Like I remind myself every day. I get a reminder on my calendar, and I'm like, yes, that's where I'm coming from. That's how I choose to live my life. That's what I'm going to be doing. But if I didn't have that on my calendar, I may forget.
I get it. And it's making the space and then using it as, it's an unconscious. And I love the what is it, the stepmother, the class comparison of the stepmother in your head.
Yeah, your stepmother is ruining your love life.
Oh, so good. Oh my gosh. And I also love I forget, it was something around the Beauty and the Beast of like thinking that love is just going to happen, and you're going to know that you want to be with your partner for the rest of your life. And then in other areas of life, when we interviewing people to come on our team and our company, like we like do background checks, we do all these things. Not saying that you need to do a background check immediately, though. I'm just saying.
I know, it's so funny because we're so inundated by these movies, thousands and thousands of movies, where we see over and over again, people meet, they fall in love, they get married. People meet within an hour and a half. So in our minds, somewhere we think that it's supposed to happen really fast. We're just supposed to know. You're going to see the stars and the hearts and the birds. And then that's how you're going to know that that person's the right person for you. But that's why I encourage people to take time, to allow love to bloom over time, to make a connection. Just like like you said, I love that you said when you're hiring for a team, you don't just like, oh, I get a good vibe from this person's picture. Oh, first interview, and they're just a yes. You want to make sure that they're in alignment with what your goals are, if they're a good fit for you, communication styles, all the things. And people forget about that when you're choosing a lifelong partner. I think people just think that love is enough, chemistry is enough. But for the successful relationships to really be strong, it needs to be two people that know what they're wanting to create for their lives, and they have some level of tools and differentiation of what it is they really need and want, and then choose from there. Because dating's really a sorting process. Dating's not a magical thing. Dating's a sorting process. But if you're going to sort for something, you need to know what you're specifically sorting for. So that's one of the things I teach my clients as well.
Yeah, you talked about it a little bit about like the dating compass. I love that because it's literally your filter of what you're looking for. And it makes so much sense. And it's so powerful to know that about yourself. And it's also, I'm sure, and when you work with your clients, it's first discovering who you are as a woman and what you stand for.
Yeah, it's really like it's a process I take people through that's actually quite beautiful, because it's not just we're creating a filter, yes, but I'm getting them to really get centered in who they really are.
Yeah.
And what really matters to them, because mostly everybody comes to me saying they want someone successful, smart, funny, good looking. I mean, everybody wants that, right? Rich. I mean, everybody's like, I want that. But then when we get to the heart of it, what did you say?
Big feet. I mean,
but people don't realize that you actually need to know. It's important. Even when you're writing a job description, you need to know, what is this person going to be doing? On some level, you are interviewing for a job description, not the relationship is a job, but you need to know, like, who's this character? Like, what's their character? It can be great to have someone good looking and tall and successful, but if they're not loving, if they're not family oriented and you want to build a family, then why even bother? But people do waste, as women especially, will waste 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years with someone who is not a good long fit with them. And then I hear it all the time. They say, I feel like I just wasted years of my life. And I don't want that for people. I don't want them to invest in people that are not a good long-term fit. Why bother?
Yeah.
Why bother dating someone that doesn't want kids if you actually want kids? Like, why bother?
Or if they don't have the same brand of spirituality or belief systems too, like I guess that would be challenging as well.
Yeah, like really huge life goal like problems. Like I don't see, but the dating compass, what it does, it helps you get to the root of the matter. So then when you're on dates, when you're on the online dating sites, when you're on the first date, the second date, the third date, you can start to get more details about those specific qualities, like without like interviewing them and like, forcing them into a relationship, like just slowly get to know someone over time and see if they are in alignment with what you want. Like have multiple times connecting with someone.
I love that. Where do you think that the types come from? I know the archetypes of, all the Disney movies and stuff like that. Like the one that stuck out to me when you're talking about it, even though it was in a different context, it was Beauty and the Beast. And my old pattern of archetype was the thug, or the bad boy, or the, just the guy that was up to so much mischief, that was great looking, that had all the things, and they had a streak of being dangerous. And it's great. And a lot of times those gentlemen don't have the ability or want to really have deeper connection and have conversations. Not all of them, though. The ones that I was choosing to attract didn't. And I would look back at some of the TV shows and the movies that I loved, and that was really, really deep in those type of archetypal patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just wondering like what your feedback is, because I know a lot of young women, they go purely, just like you said, it's my type. And it usually is all based on physical appearance. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I hear over and over again. People just say they have a type, and then I try to figure out what their type is. And then bottom line, I invite people to discover what their type is, like to really like say, okay, this is my type, and then consciously choose to alter what you think your type is, and to just be open more in a that your life partner may come in a package, that physical package that you least expect, but you could actually ruin your chances at love because someone doesn't look the way you think they should, or come across in a way that you're used to. A lot of times love or feelings of love and connection have to do with a comfort level. So if we're used to like the football player, the type, or the beefy type, or the nerd type, or whatever type it is, I mean, most people have a type. Some people don't. Like I'm one of those people, I don't have a type. But if you just are attached to that, then you just are like those horses on the street that you can only see this. And what I want to do is help everybody to see, like, just see someone for who they are, not just what they physically look like, because you can actually alter what you're physically attracted to. Because at the end, you really want someone to love you. Yeah, it's hot to be with a bad boy who's riding a motorcycle and he just has all that fashion sense and he looks good in those jeans, and he kind of like tells you what to do and you're like, oh yeah, I like this, but then like he's mean to you. So it's just and sometimes it's like it's nice to just, and the nice guys aren't the best at picking up women, but if you're in a relationship with them, they would be awesome. They would be loving with you. They would have fun with you. But sometimes those guys have a little harder time like getting you excited and turned on, where those bad boys are like good with picking up girls and doing that and sweeping you off your feet. But as I say in the book too, like sweeping you off your feet doesn't necessarily mean it's love. Like some people train themselves to be good at sweeping women off their feet. I mean, I definitely fell into that trap. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, because I even got caught up in being swept off on my feet, so much so that I found myself in a relationship that wasn't even true. And that was so painful. So I want people to be able to really differentiate like what their personal fairy tales are that are propagated by Disney and Hollywood. And then when you can distinguish it, you actually can find freedom and make a new choice.
I love that. And I remember hearing your story in the book. And again, everyone that's listening to this, please pick up her book because it's absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about like how it just seemed like everything in that relationship was like a fairy tale. And I've been in relationships like that too, where they pull out all the stops, all the love languages in the beginning. And it's just like, oh my gosh, plus they have the look. It's like, woohoo, I found it. And you're like, the polarity and the attraction is like you literally, your body like lights up like a Christmas tree every time you're around them. And then the consistency is not there. And you start thinking you're crazy.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they start saying that you're cheating on them. And you're like, what? Well, that was my case, because usually when people accuse people of doing things, not always, a lot of times though, they may be doing it themselves. So it made a lot of sense.
That's really interesting, because I've been actually thinking about that, Deborah, like, and especially with NLP, and I know we're talking about my book and stuff, but in terms of like when someone is like maybe distressed by something you're doing, or it's telling you should be different in a certain way, my radar does go up. I'm like, I think this is them, because I know when I'm judging someone or I'm critical of someone, like, oh, that person is just being really uptight. And I'm like, then I look at myself, I'm like, oh, look, I have this big pull up my butt. I'm being so uptight.
I know. Girl, I know. Well, every time I project on Brandon, like every time he pisses me off or like I judge him for judging. I'm like sitting there shaming him because I'm so much better and I'm judging him for judging that person. I'm like, you shouldn't judge, and I'm judging him. Like, it's all projections in my humble opinion.
Yeah. And it's like, and when you're in a relationship with someone, it's like navigating that, like, what is truly mine? What is theirs? And sometimes it takes a little time to really distinguish that, you know?
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
get messy.
Mhm.
And I don't know, with some relationships, there's an opportunity, like for us, we're not happy all the time. We're not perfect all the time. And we communicate what's going on, and we talk about it, and we're willing to be open to change and feedback. And we're what we met in a personal growth and development training, when of
Mhm.
course I wasn't looking for someone, because I was already in a not a good relationship. And so I'm like, I'm doing me. I need to break through me, because the plan was to get out of that relationship.
Mm.
So love does happen when you're not looking for it. And it's also something that you do want to search for too, if you
Mhm.
proactively want to. So we have same values. And so I believe it has to do with being on the same page, and we elicited all of our values in all areas of life this 2 days ago and got all aligned and stuff like that. But there's work and then we do project on each other. Though
Mm.
we're open to listening to the projections come in and learn from it. And being with somebody that is constantly attacking you and projecting on you isn't yours either. So like there is perceptions projection, but then some people I think believe they take it too far, of they
Yeah.
need to be in a relationship just to get the projection of
Yeah.
what they're projecting on the person. And I would like to what I'm trying to say is that we're two people coming with two different realities. Yes, we project on each other, and people just have their own shit, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so you have a choice whether to stay in that environment and get projected on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then circling back to like people that are single, we all project our own fairy tales and stories
Yes.
and how love's supposed to be, and really just idealize someone you go on a date with, instead of just being like, okay, let's see who in reality this person is. There's no need to rush into anything. Let's slowly get to know them, because and it's really important to be aware of like what story you're putting on a stranger about
Yeah.
who they are. Just because someone bought you flowers and pulled out the chair for you and gave you a great kiss doesn't mean they're the one.
I know. And it's crazy because I'll tell you the same thing in my head goes when I was out there dating, I would automatically, these acts of romance or
Yeah. Oh,
charismatic
yes.
behavior. And
Yeah.
I would be like, "Ooh, could I marry them? Ooh, like, I don't even know this person. I don't know like their background. I don't know how they like to live, and I'm just like creating this fantasy." But it is fun though. Be in less is a great feeling.
It is. It's fun. But over time, if you are committed to a serious long-term relationship and that's what you're doing all the time, it can get tiring. People can get depleted. People take an extensive dating sabbatical. People give up hope. They get resigned. And that's where I usually come into play, when people get so resigned that they stop action, and then they just give up hope. So part of my job is infusing hope just from the process of them getting clear and alive again from what they really need and want, and to see how they could take responsibility for their past actions, but they can just be receptive to love coming to them. That is an action, like actually being receptive, being open to opportunities, taking opportunities, putting yourself out there and honoring yourself in the process, because dating can be very messy. There's a lot of irresponsible people out there that are not kind. There's, you don't know what you're dealing with on dating apps, and you just don't know if someone's real or not. So there's a lot for the single person to navigate through, but I always like having my clients come to that centered place where they just honor themselves, they're clear on what they want, and they don't take anything personally, because they're just a sorting machine, just like
Yeah.
in an assembly line. You're just picking off the ones that actually could be potentials and who are not, and you're just sorting. It's not personal in the beginning.
Yeah, that's so it's because it's literally, especially if you have a coach like you and a leader and a guide through this process, I could see it as being such an incredible journey of self-love.
Mm-hmm.
because going through that and going and sifting through what we call the projections and seeing like all these different types of people and how they're showing up, and if they trigger you, that's a healing process in itself. And also not to take this stuff personally either, because people are on the things. So it just sounds like a fun journey. I wish I was single again, just to experience that not because I want to be single, but to experience it from an elevated point of view versus just trial and error and not knowing exactly, because I could see how it'd be so overwhelming without somebody like you.
Yeah, and what the idea just came to me, like, did you take the SATs when you were in school?
Well, yes, they had those.
Okay, well, anyway, I know you were a wild one and you did all the things, but in my school we had the SAT and I just took it, and I did all right, but I never had a coach or a mentor to help me, like where a lot of my friends did, and they got like 1,500, 1,600, which was the highest, at that time. I don't know what it is now. But like, there is something to be said about like, even like people hiring you as a coach and to help them with their patterning. And so we're someone like me to like, actually, you don't have to keep hitting your head against the wall. Like there's people who can help clear the way so it could be a lot more pleasurable and enjoyable process, where for most people, dating isn't. Dating for most people is very confusing, stressful time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be fun.
Yes, it can be. It can be an adventure. It can be anything you want it to be. It could be the winter to remember. It can be anything.
It's so wonderful. So what is your best advice for single men and women out there today, looking for a partner or a husband or just a great relationship in general?
I would say just create opportunities, get out there, use the apps, use the one that would generate someone that's in alignment with what you want. Learn how to get good at dating apps. It's not just an easy thing. I would say also put yourself out there, become part of a community, expand your social network. I find a lot of successful entrepreneurs and business people have their stable entrepreneur network, or they're just solopreneuring it and doing their own thing. It's just really about expanding who you know, and purely just to make connections. It doesn't always have to be about business. It can be just you, because you may meet someone at a new networking event or at a regular community gathering, and then you go often, they get to know you, you get to know them. You may meet someone there, or you may become friends with someone who will know someone. So it's all about just expanding and staying open to you. The main thing is you need to be meeting new single people. Like as business people, we have a funnel, right? We have potential clients that we put in the funnel, and then we funnel them to see if they're a good fit for us, we're a good fit for them, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with dating, but you have to be actually meeting single people.
Yeah.
Just bite the bullet, get out there and start meeting some single people. Just put some single people in your funnel.
I love that. And what is the best way to help with, let's say that the person is nervous or they have a little fear around it? Like, what would the best advice for that be for someone that hasn't been out in a while, kind of feeling socially awkward? I could see how that could be a little scary.
Yeah, definitely. I would start off baby steps. Start to do something where maybe you have a little bit of fear or a little bit of discomfort, but still do it anyway. I find the biggest results that my clients get are just because they feel the fear and they do it anyway. And a lot of times we feel fear and we feel it, and we think that means to stop. We have our stories around what fear is, and they get really loud in our head. And so we need to just notice, oh, hey, fear, I see you, but I'm still gonna go get dressed up and go sit at that fancy bar at that hotel, and I'm gonna read my fashion magazine, and I know it's gonna be weird, but I'm just gonna put myself out there tonight, or I'm gonna get on that app. Just little baby steps. You'd be surprised, even if you just take the little steps every day, the momentum that starts to accumulate just from the baby. So you don't need to start really big, just start little and create that momentum, but always honor yourself, always, and get support. If you have really deep fear, triggering fear, definitely get support, because you deserve love. even if you have fear, someone loves your little fearness, your little fear, my little fear bunnies.
I love
That's why personally as a coach, I'm always reaching and doing things that scare me, because I'm always asking my clients to do things to face their fears. So I'm always looking for new things that I need to do to face my own fear.
I love it.
Because so I can be a clearing for that and not just stay in my safety zone. How can I ask my clients to face their fears and take action anyway if I'm not doing that myself?
I love it. Walk the walk. I do the same thing because my old modus of operandum was fear-based everything. Everything freaked me out. I mean, like fear was my middle name. And so I actively put myself in fucking frightful situations all the time because I know that I'm going to grow. And man, oh man, like in a whole year of just practicing that, it is incredible how much you transform. Of just like year by year, you are a new person each time that you're courageously. People think that people that are, fantastic at something, or they're a successful business owner, or they're a great speaker, or they're a great piano player. A lot of times they have practice, and it's just, like that. Like courage takes practice, and anything you do is going to be a little awkward the first time.
Oh yeah.
You're probably going to feel a little bit of fear, and that's okay. I still get fear when I get up in front of people and I'm not, accustomed to it and stuff like that. So I think it's important that you're walking the walk and, helping these women and men break through as they're finding. It's like a spiritual journey to find your mate. That's what I'm hearing.
It is. It's a beautiful, I get to be a part of this one section, this one part of their love life in terms, they're blooming into this, from a caterpillar into a cocoon and then into this butterfly. They can just fly. And it's beautiful to be a part of that journey.
And it sets them up for success in the relationship, because if you're coming from a place of insecurity, and that's pretty much why every single relationship in my past failed, is because I was projecting all my insecurities, and I was also attracting people because of my insecurities that weren't going to treat me well because I didn't treat myself well.
And that's the thing that I find too, is we have our stories around what love is, and we actually pull on people to play out our old sad stories. So why people say I've attracted the same kind of person, it's just because we've accepted that that's how love goes. And part of my work, and I think it's part of your work too, is to kind of rewrite your story, rewrite your love story, so that you are not pulling on people to play out that sad old story, that you are attracting and pulling on people to play out your most divine, amazing love story.
Absolutely. So what would your advice, and then I want to get into like how they can work with you. What would your advice be for anyone that has that? They literally have dated, let's say, because I've had clients in the past that would say, yeah, I've had the same man show up 4 to 5 times, same story, different face, different name, same trauma. And I related and acted and got triggered in the same way. So what would you say to someone that's had that pattern, that so desperately wants to find love and to change and rewrite their story? What would the best advice, besides, of course, working with you?
Is it they're getting triggered, the same trigger in the relationship, or they keep attracting the same person that triggers the thing? What's actually happening?
Both. Okay. Or maybe separate. Usually I find out it's both. Because they attract the same thing and then they get triggered the same way.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I don't know if I could put a big blanket on that one, because we are going to have triggers even if we are in a healthy relationship with someone that is a good long-term fit. I find that there's always work to be done, and when something's triggered, it's like, okay, what's that all about? Like, where do I need to love myself? What skills do I need to learn? Like, what's there? So I think as a human, I think it's really empowering to just realize we're messy, and things at times are going to get triggering for us, especially if both people are growing kind of people. Because if you're always growing, then new things are always going to be coming up, right? But in terms of choosing the same person, and it's not a healthy thing, my best advice is to really just, well, I have a process that I take people through because we need to like recreate what that story is and why they keep choosing that. It's mostly they haven't spent the time to really think about what they really need and want. And
Mm.
instead of choosing from an empowered place, they choose from a lonely place. And they're like, this person will do. But then a year later, they're still with that person that they weren't really excited about.
I say it's like, so what do I want? What do I need? And what do I settle for?
Yeah. But most people don't even know what they want to need. They just base it on looks and a chemistry.
Yeah, it's crazy. And pretty much you're right. Most people don't even, I know with women that I've worked with, they don't even, in my own personal story, I didn't give myself permission to even want to have the right to even want something for so many years.
I know.
Yeah, because like if I wanted something that it was selfish, that was a storyline for me.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I mean, when
it's
I
awesome
was raised, if
program.
I wanted something, I would get the no.
Mhm.
So if you get that over and over again, and you want something, and then maybe no one's there to say no, but you've internalized it, and then you're saying no to all these things you want.
Yeah, so it's angered.
Yes.
I never thought of it that way. Oh my gosh, that's such a great point. Okay, so I have two questions. Do you have time from
Yeah,
Hannah,
let's do whatever
one
you
of
need.
your greatest fans? Okay, so how does one become a coach in being an expert dating coach? What trainings or programs do you like think would be a good for somebody that wants to become an expert in dating like you do? Do you
Oh.
have any recommendations?
Wow, that's a really great question. I've never gotten that question before. My experience has come from like on the court experience with being in different coaching programs, but I've never officially gone through a dating coaching program because when I
Maybe you could
started,
create one.
yeah, I mean, people have said that. Like, I'm like, all right. Yeah, but like there's not something that I've seen that I would actually have people go to. But like I definitely think that I could probably create something like that. But I think really becoming an expert in something really means investing the time and the research and really being on the court. Um, but yeah, I actually don't have a really good answer for that one, other than maybe study with me, I guess. I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for that one.
Well, then is it okay if she instant messages you?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
cool.
Who is this person? Oh, it's well, I
Hannah,
believe it's
it's our in-house master coach.
oh, okay.
She's amazing. She's also our operations officer here at Yager Training. But
Oh,
she said that you've inspired her, and it's something when she read your book,
yeah.
um, she said that she had always wanted to
Oh,
become a dating expert. It's something that she
oh,
felt drawn to, and then this book gave her permission to be okay with wanting that. So that's what she was doing.
that's amazing. I love that. Yeah, thanks for planting that seed. People have been doing that the last few months. Are you going to start your training? Are you going to start your training?
So yeah, so maybe some messengers are coming from the
Yeah,
universe.
well,
The Crista Beck dating course or the dating expert coaching course.
yes.
Okay, so do you have any advice on millennial dating apps?
Millennial dating apps? Like what app specifically? Is she talking about Bumble or Tinder? Or is
Um,
she talking about millennials on dating apps? Because I don't know if there is a specific millennial dating app. So that's why I'm trying to figure out what she means.
she didn't give any more information. So again, I'll just have her instant message her. But
Okay.
what would you say when you're a millennial in the dating field? What app would be the best if you were to?
Well, again, I know people just want to know where to go, right? But the question I always ask back is who is the best fit person for you?
Mm,
That's in alignment with what you need and want. And that's part of the dating compass process I take people through. And then once you've discovered that for yourself, then where would be the best places to go?
I
So
love
like
that.
for example, if you're like wanting someone, like I was on the phone today with someone who wanted someone who is family oriented, they want to build a family. So let's just take that characteristic. You're wanting someone who's family oriented. Well, where would be the best place to meet someone who's family oriented? Would it be church? Would it be a single parent meetup? Would it be family through family and friends? People want that answer, but I can't give you the answer because I don't know what it is that you specifically are needing and wanting. But once we nail that down, boom, then we can start strategizing and putting you at the exact locations that you can meet this specific kind of person.
Beautiful. So that just leads us right into the next thing is, what are you offering? What's going on with you? What's next with you? Tell us all about how everyone that's listening to this, how, if they're resonating and they need your help, how they can reach out to you, and what do you offer in that process?
Well, free, awesome, and it'll jumpstart you. It'll get you thinking about what you haven't maybe been thinking about with your love life. I have the dating IQ quiz, so they can go to datingiqquiz.com. And when people take it, they say like, oh, I didn't realize I need to be thinking about that, or oh, I didn't realize that this is so important. And so just taking the quiz, which is like 4 minutes, you can take an assessment where you can start to see in reality where you're at. And then what I do for the people that do take the quiz, I do offer the opportunity to be able to have a 20-minute complimentary call with me. But they definitely need to take the quiz so they can see for themselves what's really there for them and where they can take it to the next level. So that would be I think a great next step for them. And then also too, when they take the quiz, if they put you down there's a little thing when they put their name and their email, and there's a little referral box. And if they put in Yager Training, I'm going to select one person out of everyone who puts in the referral that they can have an hour session with me as a gift. But they have to put Yager Training in the referred by, and then that's how I'll know. And then I'll make a little pull them out.
Oh, I love that.
That'll be fun because I charge $250 for those sessions.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Ooh, I am so excited for them.
I'm excited. I'm excited to
I kind of want to do it myself.
You should. Everybody loves doing the quiz. I mean, everyone loves a good quiz.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about myself. I love it. I will. I'll do it myself because
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I
think being like, even what you do is even empowering to people that are already in relationships, because I think it gives a lot of clarity on how you attracted each other. And I could see how it play into how to stay attracted to your spouse. Yeah. We talk about this in NLP, but like when we first initially get in a relationship, we forget about that part of it. And so I could see how it'd be really cool for people that are already in a relationship to go through and do it and, check it out and learn.
Yeah. And I've had married people read this book and they're like, wow, this actually helped me with my own relationship because I didn't realize I had this fairy tale that I was projecting on my husband. Or I've had dads read this book and they're like, this was the best book to read because now I'll know how to guide my daughters in love. And so it's a practical guide that will break down all these illusions that we have about love so you can be free.
It gave me so much insight on all the fairy tales that I was playing. And so I'm excited to finish it. That's what I'm going to do this evening. I have some reading time. Yes.
What was your biggest one? What was your biggest fairy tale you think that was yours that stood out?
The type thing.
Oh, it's not my type. Okay.
Yeah. Like I would project that and just like where that came from. And also getting swept off your feet. And then the love and lust thing. Like I was always aware, like there's difference between love and passion and lust and all the things. But the way that you language it sunk in so deeply. It's incredible. Lots of light bulbs going off. And immediately after, because I was reading this, I wasn't with my husband. As soon as I saw him, I felt even a deeper connection because I let go of another layer of, stuff. It was good.
I love that. Yeah. And then, and if people do want to buy the book, they can go to breaktheglassslipper.com. And it actually right now, it takes them right to the Amazon page. So if they do.
Yes.
Oh no, but you're going to also do maybe your link too. So you're going to do your thing. You're going to do your magic.
What do you mean?
Oh,
I think I was going to take your links and put it.
You are? Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to put it in your thing.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I'll have, if you text me the links, then I'll put that right there and then we can put everything up.
Okay.
So cool.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, so that's it. So is there any final words of wisdom that you would like, if there's one thing that you'd love to share, that absolutely will transform anyone listening? Is there anything that you'd like to share?
Just first love yourself.
Mm.
Just first love yourself. And then you can share that love with another human being. But if you don't love yourself, then you can't share the love. And I want you to feel love and have love, real love, not fantasy love.
I love that.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here, Deb, with your audience. Thank you
so
for
honored
listening.
to have you on.
It was
I
really
would
great
love to have you on again. I would just love to riff and talk with you more about your genius, because you're incredible.
Oh, thank you. Anytime. I love it. I love chatting. And I would love to know more about like what you do too, because I feel like there's a lot of overlap in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. I would love to talk about values. We'll talk about it over the telephone. There's so many different things that I would love to pick your brain and just get some, because we talk to people about relationships, and Brandon and I do relationship coaching, and I really would like to hear like your point of view on some of the things too.
Yeah.
And just, yeah, because it all starts in the dating. That's where the seeds are planted.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime. I
Yeah.
love talking to you, Deb.
Yeah, I love you. You're awesome. So lots of hearts. And you have a beautiful trip. You're staying there for a while, and you're going to be
Yeah, I'll be traveling. I'll be away from Austin for a little bit during cedar season, but then I'll be back in Austin. But yeah, I'm traveling right now, working and traveling, working from away.
well, have a beautiful beginning of quarter 1, and stay safe. And thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank
You
you.
too. Thanks, Deb.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like our content and you want to see more, hit the subscribe button below. We'll be posting videos every single week.
And if you want to learn more about NLP or a certification program or even performance coaching, come join us on our website at yagertraining.com, and you can find the link in the description below. We hope to see you on the next video. Thank you.